Well, I think ultimately we're seeing changes all over the country, whether it's around gay marriage or marijuana, but there's these things that were prior, there used to be in this no-no zone, this third tier of politics, third rail, where you couldn't talk about it, you just kept over here, the only time it's brought out is like wedge issues during certain elections, and that's changing. I think the perception, you look at my parents have changed in the last 3 years on marijuana, because I've demonstrated to them that it's something that helps me, it makes me able to tolerate my anxiety, tolerate being in public places, have conversations and go places that I might otherwise not, because without marijuana. Alcohol, all it does is dull the pain. Marijuana allows you to still interact with those people or interact with that environment. And I think when we're talking about drugs and war and veterans, we should be talking about, yesterday there was over 40 people killed in Mexico. They found 40 bodies right next to the border in fucking bags, and so over 40,000 Mexicans have died in the last 7 years in their war on drugs. I think that's not working. I can't tell you how many poppy fields I walked by and didn't touch in Afghanistan. We were cutting them up at one point, and we weren't at another point when the British were, and now we're not. Now we're protecting them, and now we're selling them. And we found American military flights going to Kazakhstan and Tajikistan with fuck tons of opium. They tell the British troops that they're going over there to fight to keep heroin on the streets. That's fucking ridiculous. They don't tell the Americans that. Of course, 90% of the heroin is going to Europe, so that makes sense. But we need to have conversations about drugs in general. We're pumping. There's no way to keep track of these drugs with the VA. What is being given to these people, these soldiers, and these vets? They don't know any better. They're trained to just follow orders. Someone with a title gives you stuff and says, take this, it'll help you. You take it. Sometimes you take a little more because you want that pain to go away, whether it's psychological or physical. And marijuana is not a cure-all drug. It's not going to fix everybody's problems everywhere. It does cause depression. It can help to exacerbate already existing problems. It can make anxiety worse. But for a lot of people, especially people who have experienced deep trauma, i.e. veterans in our case, it's something that can help them approach the world and interact with things and be a part of the community where they don't feel like they can otherwise. And by the way, it grows naturally, so fuck off, government. Who gets to say that? That's ridiculous. The idea that you can go and manufacture something with oil, with petroleum, and put it in a little bottle and put a great sign up, and that's fine, that's totally legal, and if you mix it with this, it'll kill you. But if I smoke a joint in my own house and want to do puzzles and play with my children for 4 hours, wow, that's horrible. I'm a terrorist. I better be locked away. 895,000 arrests last year for marijuana? How many jobs is that? You have police officers that have to be hired to do that. You have the security officials that have to hold them in prison. You have the processing. You have the judging. And all of that needs money. 2.5 billion people in prison, more than anywhere else in the world. More than North Korea, more than Russia and China, more than Iraq. All of these places that we demonize, and we have more people in prison. We have some serious questions about this. So I hope that marijuana, along with drug policy in general, and the prison industrial complex, these things are all interlinked. Militarism is the underpinning of it all. Because you have, the only way that these things are enforced is with violence. And that violence is specifically coming from that military industrial complex. I know it sounds like a crazy movie and it's a conspiracy, but when you don't do things that are against the law or against the power structure, there are reinforcements that force you to do them. When you look at ICE, when you look at our immigration, anything in immigration in our country is now handled by Homeland Security. Okay? I don't think that's necessarily a Homeland Security problem. Sure, if I guess there were Al-Qaeda terrorists flooding across the Mexican border, then maybe. But they're flooding across to, and they're not even actually, since 2005, immigration has gone down steadily every year because they see how crappy it is here and people actually don't want to come here. They think it's better in their home country. So that should say something to you, America. But most of these people are just trying to take jobs. And when you look at immigration, it's now dealt with as a national security threat. And that's ridiculous. You got your police forces. We live here in Colorado. We had the DNC 2 years or 3 years ago. They $1 billion for the police forces. We have tanks in Denver. We have tanks here. We got planes. We got jets. We got NORAD. This entire state is militarized. And if you try, they get $6 million for helping the police force against Occupy here. You think, really? Like, that's what you need to face a nonviolent movement? It shows that the decision-making is very simplistic. It's like, listen to what we say, and if you don't, my only response is violence and force, because that's all we understand. And the only way to fight a system like that is to completely remove the support structures that exist for it. Remove the consent of the society. Remove the cooperation. People need to jaywalk across the streets. People need to come together and occupy the streets. And this isn't just like being part of the Occupy movement or whatever. The Occupy movement is solely the transitional base where you can come together and meet people from different walks of life, with different views, and work with marijuana issues, work with immigration issues, work with national security issues. Because I've got news for you, it's all interlinked. Every one of these pieces is tied together. And you take apart little pieces of it and the whole system collapses.
I'm bitching about this, but I'm bitching about it with a camera and trying to put it out there online and do it in an informative, educational way, as a form of a documentary more than anything else, if anything else. For me, it's more, like I said, more therapy and more of an art form, more of a creative endeavor. But it's also an educational opportunity for me to be able to educate other people in my community. My motto is take it back, all right? Take it back. This is my country. I need to take it back. I grew up in New England. Nathan Hale grew up in my hometown. I was taught patriotism, and right now I don't feel this is my country. It's been taken over, and I want to take it back. And I think veterans are the best people that I can become involved with right now, because, you know, when the Constitution is threatened like it is right now, somebody has to pick up arms and shoot. And I'm doing that. I'm picking up my one good arm because the other one's been shattered in an accident. And I'm going to pick up my one good arm and shoot with a camera. And that's all I can do right now. And that's all I want to do. But maybe, hopefully, it will be enough. Education, outreach. You know, I think it's either evolve or die at this point for the whole race, the whole human race. It's evolve, get fucking smart real quick, or perish. And I think my Mother Nature, is going to enforce that, you know, one way or another.
Take it back, take it back, take it back, take it back.